All right, this is Jared Alpern. Jared's going to be playing the Lucazite guitar slide. Only 7 made. Jared, play a little bit for us. Impressions?
Well, what I like about it is, with a glass slide or a metal slide, both are opposite materials. Glass is a very light material. Metal is obviously, like brass, is a very heavy material. So when you're playing a glass slide, you get a lot of the sweet tones, but it's very difficult to get the edgier sounds without sounding too screechy or just not being in the right zone. And when you play a metal slide, you can get those edgy tones that you want in songs when you're playing songs like Statesboro. But if you're playing like softer, more melodic songs, it just doesn't work. It sounds, there's no dynamics in terms of the tone or the volume, really. And what this does is you can get very, very nice tones. Where you can actually regulate how much tone it is and how much treble. But you can also at the same time, without switching slides, you can get stuff like
there seems to be an absence of string noise I'm hearing. You know, normally I'm hearing in between.
Yeah, I mean, the material, you don't have to mute nearly as much. Obviously, you still have to mute or else you have to have the technique. But in terms of, a lot of times when you're playing slide, you got to have your middle finger and your pointer finger resting down on the strings, and that can be difficult in terms of the intonation because it slows you down and it alters the way. But this, I can play it without even having these fingers touch the other strings and without a problem.
It's been described as almost being like rosin, people say. Oh, could you shut that door? So that they like how it grabs so much.
Yeah, and the intonation is so much better because when you're playing regular lead guitar, you fret on the fret. So that's hard to do. A lot of times slide players will have a hard time transferring it over to, because when you actually play slide, you actually put the slide on the fret bar higher than the fret itself. So if you play, say I'm playing a G on the 12th bar, it's flat. You have to shoot a little bit higher, and a lot of times it's hard since you have fret markers. That helps you when you're playing just regular guitar, but there's no way to mark fret bars. So really, when you're playing slide, you have to have really good intonation to get a good sound. But this has such better the intonation of this slide compared to, say, the glass ones or the brass slides is so much better.
A lick and then pick up the brass slide and show us the difference, and then pick up a glass slide just so we can hear it.
Let's try. So this is a brass slide. Seems a little, I think it's a little heavier.
A lot brighter harsher. And lighter sounding.
It's a lot harsher and it's not as good of a tone.
Okay.
So it's like if I'm trying to play a sweet melody, like, intonation is much worse, and you can see it still sounds decent, but I'm not targeting the notes nearly as well as it was before, and it's got a grinding sound. It's not really as musical as the other ones. So let's try the glass ones. First, this is a standard size, like a longer glass one. And again, it's much lighter. It doesn't feel like I have much on my finger right now, but let's try it. And again, the intonation is much more difficult with this because it's so much lighter. slider. So when you go to slides, you're off a bend. You often go sharp
Right.
on this one instead of flat. Like on the brass one, you go flat instead of sharp. This one feels like when I play it, I go sharp instead of flat. And again, when I try to get into the edgier, harsher tones that you need for like half the playing you're doing, it just doesn't sound. It doesn't perform well. It's like
Yeah.
you get a lot more string noise when you do that because it's so much lighter. It's not actually pressing down the strings like. So not only do I have to regulate my intonation with the glass one, but I have to regulate how hard I'm actually pushing down the string, which is not something you want to be doing when you're playing slide.
Can you do the Lucas one more time for me?
Yeah, let's try the Lucas one.
So it seems to give you the best of all the worlds.
It
almost,
does, and the
that
other
one
thing is the
does.
vibrato. I forgot to mention the vibrato on this is much better because, again, it's not too heavy, not too light. It's just in the middle of the brass and the glass slides.
So you think you'll want one?
I think I want more than one of them. Definitely at least 3 or 4 of them.
That's great.